How you doing? It's your boy, the Hispanic American, and today I am in a completely different setting, and I want to talk to you about some crazy forgotten conspiracies, guys. Now, this is a crazy conspiracy that I think nowadays really makes you think. So that's just me in theory, thinking about these things and saying, like, bro, this reminds me of a lot of old conspiracies that I used to hear back in the 2010s and 2015 and stuff like that. We're talking about 10 to 15 years ago, bro, or more than that. And now it all seems to be kind of going. And if you look at the past, these forgotten conspiracies, bro, you look and they look like they've been coming true, which makes people like me think, wait a minute, what the hell? And that's why I want to bring up this old conspiracy that it's kind of like how many coincidences. So there used to be a show back in the day in True TV with Jesse Ventura, and it was conspiracy because, of course, that was the word they used, and that was a mistake because no, it just putting yourself as a title conspiracy theorist just takes away all whatever. Let's get into this. I want to show you this.
It's something much worse. Here's where it gets crazy. According to broadcaster Alex Jones, FEMA is a front for a secret government, and the housing locations will actually serve as quarantine centers or internment camps. This is not an unfounded fear. After all, during World War II, the US forced over 100,000 Japanese Americans into government camps for the duration of the conflict, and civil unrest could be considered a domestic emergency. How would this insurrection occur? Theorists cite any number of possible causes, from the establishment of a one-world government to a national pandemic. Some believe a global elite of bankers and aristocrats may artificially create a disaster to trigger a massive incarceration of US citizens who object to the plan, whatever that plan might be. Fringe researcher Mary Louise alleges that FEMA keeps a red list and a blue list, where people on the blue list will be shipped to camps for quarantine or re-education, while those on the red list will be executed. Skeptics rightly point out that this conspiracy requires an amazing, even implausible, level of organization. Also, a large natural disaster can displace hundreds of thousands of people, so building temporary housing in advance seems like a good idea. Yet there's another angle here. The US already holds the world's largest prison population, with over 2 million people incarcerated. Most of the people who believe that FEMA is a cover for a mass imprisonment also believe in the Illuminati, Freemasons, or satanic conspiracies. Sometimes they believe in all three. The outlandish nature of some theories may make them hard to swallow. Yet,
bro, so this is so many years ago, and they talk about taking the rights of citizens. They talk about, which right now is happening with American citizens that happen to be from other countries. So people that were already here with citizenship, now things are looking a little sketch. The other thing is that they already were planning pandemic measures back like way before, like 10 years plus before the pandemic actually happened. That's crazy. These are just a forgotten conspiracy theory, but let's keep watching. There's even more, bro.
Yes, folks.
I was pulled to the side road, which was a new cut gravel dirt road in front of a business, a builder supply business, actually top-notch builder supply in Madison, Georgia. To my right, this was previously was a soybean field, and this little new cut road divided this field, and the right side of the road was filled with which I thought was portable toilets. I never looked at them that close. Same in color, maybe black, but which was an odd color. And I was sitting there going over my notes, and a van pulled alongside of me that turned out to be the property owner. and he greeted me, and he was by himself, and so we had a good little dialogue there, and I asked him about the field of black boxes. What were they? Because I'd never seen anything like that, and his statement was that if he told me, I would be one of few people in Madison, Georgia, that knew about them. And he says they're disposable coffins, I believe he told me. And he says there's 100, at that time, he said there was 125,000 there. And they were stacked, he told me, 15 high. I asked him who owned them, and he stated that the CDC owned them and that they were leasing his land for storage. And he said his brother worked with the CDC in Atlanta and had been asked by the CDC to do a 3-year extension to place temporary morgues all across the nation.
So in January of this year, 2005, we decided to drive to beautiful Madison, Georgia and take a look for ourselves. It was on a Sunday and no one was around, with the exception of this one pickup truck that was coming out the narrow road that we were going in on next to this field. We flagged down the pickup truck, and it was providential that the driver of this pickup truck turned out to be the son of the man that owned this field. We asked him for permission if we could look around, and he said yes, so we did.
We're just getting an idea for the size of these boxes. What could these boxes be used for? Well, they're called casket liners. And that's an interesting term, isn't it? It's a casket liner. When I first heard the term casket liner, I thought perhaps a lining for a casket. But this is too big to be on the inside of a casket. So certainly this could be used as a casket. This is an inexpensive casket. And you can see the size here. There's lots of room. I think my friends here, we could all probably get inside, and it might be a little cozy, but we'd fit just fine. Which tells me that these liners can be used for more than just one. And one more time, what kind of liners are these?
Casket liners.
These are casket liners.
That's what the man said.
That's what the man told us. And we're told that there were about 500,000 out here.
Later,
They're plastic grave liners, which is crazy that they had thousands and thousands and hundreds of these things. Like, it's almost as if they were planning things. And obviously the government, the reason they take so long, in my opinion, and my smarter than a fifth grader opinion, is that they're just so incompetent in making these plans happen that it never goes right. Which makes it even more scary right now, because it finally seems like everything is going right. People are actually doing exactly and playing into their hand, finally. So who knows what's next? I repeat, this was 10 years plus before the pandemic. All this was a conspiracy that was forgotten. Nowadays there's a lot of conspiracies out there that are crazy and they're very popular. Like the moon landing or the Twin Towers or stuff like that. But this got forgotten, bro. And it seems like this is the one that everybody should have been paying attention to, because this says so much. But that's just me. I might just be really stupid, right? I just might be really stupid. And I still remember all this. And then I look back and I say, yeah, but nobody does nothing, because what the hell could people do against a powerful government that controls people and they make them into mobs? Now I want to talk to you about a book called The Division. And these books are based on Tom Clancy. Well, are they fiction? Well, let's look into it. Let's look into it even deeper. by actually look at the video game that came out, because it's way easier to show you a video game than a book. But you could check both out on your own time. But let's take a look at what the game shows us. Now, what's crazy about this game is the depiction of these camps, which here in the game, just for fiction's sake, they're called Sarah instead of FEMA. And if we pay close attention, this game talks about a pandemic that happened, and everything goes to hell. And they create these FEMA centers. Right here, this one burnt down. And as you can see, we could walk in and there was a fire. And they were helping people and all this. And there was a fire in this one. So something went wrong in that one. But if we go a little bit further right here, what makes it crazy is the depiction. The depiction of the dead bodies in body bags and these mass graves. Look at these mass graves, bro, with the Sarah symbol on it, which we already know represents FEMA. Now this is very ominous, and this game came out years and years before the pandemic hit. And here it is in a Tom Clancy game. And nobody looks at this serious because it's just a game. But it's such an ominous story that if you actually research it or play it, because there's not too much out there, at least speaking about this, you could actually see the story is quite deep. We know Tom Clancy was very into CIA, FBI, co-ops operations. Right here we could see a whole bunch of people waiting to go into these facilities. And you can see the barbed wire, and you can see the military. Look, it's been militarized. This is literally a FEMA camp, pandemic style. Flu-like symptoms. They're talking about flu-like symptoms, and you go in. Obviously, in this game, you play as an agent, so you could walk in. Look at these decontamination showers they have. All this, and it's really ominous now that we look back. And these were fictional video games created by Tom Clancy. They're based on Tom Clancy's books, and these games are called The Division, meaning dividing and conquering people. This right here happens to be New York City. And it's such an ominous and crazy game that depicts the realities before they even happen. Look at this. This right here is a memorial of all the lost workers, responders, soldiers, family members. Look at this. This is so, look at all the dog tags. Dude, this is so ominous, bro. Stay strong, USA, it says right there. The American flag, the people mourning right here. Look at it. New York forever, missing person, support. Look at this. Like the crazy amount of detail they went into this, bro.
Reminder. Symptomatic treatment can and should be done initially in the safety of your homes.
To take it even further, this shows what we call here quarantine zones, which is a large part of the city that's been completely quarantined. And you can see right here, National Guard got executed right here, man. Look, FEMA State or Sarah State. Right, this is fiction. Now this is called the Dark Zone because once you pass this point, it's lawless. Now in this game, they depict the whole city that people are so afraid to come out of their houses that they literally throw the trash from their windows and they don't come out. They're basically quarantined, and the people who go out, it's every man for himself. That's why people are mugging each other and surviving. But if we pay attention right here to buildings that actually were fully quarantined, here we got a whole project that got quarantined. Well, what do we got here? Wow, it's one of these Sarah coffin liners. Look at them. Wait, there's more. Actually, let's see how this fictional game depicts. The National Guard are here. The National Guard, look at all this garbage. The National Guard are here, keeping the quarantine area. These are supplies and stuff. But let's continue. Look at all these coffins with quarantine labels on them. In this little known video game. Just putting this out there like, but it's a conspiracy theory game. Look, the US Army. Oh God, violence. These are people from Rikers prison that escaped, attacking the National Guard. What do we have here? A truck filled to the brim with coffin liners, with quarantine tape and wrapping all over it. Look at this. This is a Sarah checkpoint. Look at this. Look at this. So this might be a game, but the way it portrays what happens in New York City, the way, look at this. Look at all these so-called coffin liners, bro. Look at all these body bags. Does it remind you of anything? Look at this. This whole place was quarantined, bro. Look at how many they are. Look at, if we go in here, what do they got? Bunch of medical supplies where they were helping people until everything got out of hand. Look at this. This was a whole checkpoint. What do we got over here? School buses, ambulances that were hurting the people up in here. And where's the people now? Where are the people now? It's the craziest thing in some fictional video game. By the way, this happened during Christmas time, the holidays. In this video game, look at the people in the hazmat suits. This is crazy. And I remember playing this and thinking like, wow, this is a crazy conspiracy thing. But looking back, I'm like, bro, what the hell was that game all about again? Let's check it out. I mean, even for a video game, these specific things like these liners, these coffin liners, bro. Pallets of them being moved around, people being treated like there's even a conveyor belt for the bodies. Like, are you serious? Packing them in the back of trucks?
Can't wait to get back to base.
The National Guard everywhere, civilians scrambling for scraps in the street, afraid to leave their house, quarantined because of this pandemic that happened here. I'm just saying. And the streets fell lawlessly into chaos. I'm just saying, it's a little bit, conspiracy-y. So yeah, I just wanted to point out this conspiracy. And this video game that emphasizes this conspiracy even further, which is a little bit insane to me that it even has a video game and everything. And the crazy part about this is that, look, the policeman giving the bag to America, the fireman giving the bag to America, and Liberty wearing a gas mask. All these missing people, bro, and bro, I'm just saying, like, and the story went a little like this.
Okay, answer this one. Would you rather know when you're going to die or how you're going to die? Come on, you have to choose one. I just want to get out of this fucking rain. Who told you to stop digging?
Safety off.
Make sure the medical items gets into the clinic, and the food goes to the storage by the mess halls.
Put those crates back on the truck.
Wait, what?
We're not wasting any more supplies on these people. Put them back, Private. Sir.
What the hell are you doing, Colonel?
They are already dead, Doctor.
Are you insane? They need care. What about the staff?
Collateral damage. Now, take your hand off my soldier.
If you go ahead with this, I will report your what the
Bar the gate, Sergeant. Looks like you got a riot brewing. Lock and load! Put it down.
Okay, all this is just theories and video games and very old footage. So none of this is proven. But what if I tell you that there was a country that actually did all this and put it into action to reduce the amount of people they had? But what government could possibly be so crazy to actually make this happen?
Frustration, outrage growing in Shanghai in China, a city of 25 million people, been locked up in their homes since the end of March as a surge in COVID cases led officials to impose these hard lockdowns under China's strict zero COVID policy. Residents there in need of food, medicine, other supplies, they're pushing back against the lockdown. I want to bring in CNN's David Culver live in Shanghai, and there's some sign that China's responding to this pushback, David.
Let's hope, John, at least in words. You know, you and I were talking more than 2.5 years ago, and the Wuhan lockdown at that time was really the most pressing issue. Well, if you think Wuhan 2020 was bad, welcome to Shanghai 2022. This has been like no other lockdown, and it's in the country's cosmopolitan and most affluent financial hub of all places. So this door behind me, this is my exit to the outside alleyway, and late last night I heard them taping up my door along with the doors of my neighbors. They're placing a paper seal so as to keep it closed. Some buildings with positive cases inside, well, they're locked shut from the outside. They're using bicycle locks and padlocks just to keep people in. The biggest issue has been, though, food shortages. It's really difficult to source food with stores closed and delivery drivers also locked down. So neighbors are now coming together to try and source directly from suppliers. We buy in bulk. There have been some government handouts, not enough, and that's led to residents who are under lockdown demanding supplies. We've seen all sorts of videos on social media as they're coming together, some in protest, because the food shortages here have worsened.
We talked about the pandemic. Seems like the world has moved on, and it has, except for one country, the home country of the Wuhan virus. It is the very picture of chaos. China is struggling, and how? I'm going to show you a video, and let me say that it's disturbing. We advise viewer discretion. And this video is believed to be from Shanghai, a healthcare worker violently enforcing quarantine orders. Is it a crime to be a COVID patient? In China, it seems it is. China is going through a pandemic nightmare. New cases are being reported. Millions have been put in quarantine. There's a shortage of food. There is panic buying. There's a lot of suffering. And making it worse is the Communist Party. They've imposed draconian measures. Patients are being forced into quarantine. People are dying due to lack of care. Little children are being separated from their families. The public anger is growing. And it's usually difficult to gauge public sentiment on the mainland. People do not speak up in China. When they do, they face a crackdown. China does not put up with dissent, and we know that. And yet, news has a way of coming out sooner or later. Same with the suffering of the Chinese people. Tonight, we will show you 5 videos to sum up how China is punishing its people after failing to control the Wuhan virus.
So it really seems like, guys, we all knew this. The virus, the COVID virus came from China. And the good news here is that even though it seems like America has been planning its own plans, it really seems like China was the government and the country that decided to pull the trigger on its people. And that's insane that an actual government did that. At the same time, with my smarter than a 5th grader mind and thought, am I supposed to be worried? Does that mean that America hasn't even initiated their plan? Bro, I don't know. This is just me theorizing about old conspiracies, but let's keep looking. Did China actually do this? Well, let's see, and I'll let you judge and use your brain to think.
Start with Shanghai, the world's biggest hotspot right now. That's Shanghai for you. More than 20 million citizens are under lockdown. Local authorities are struggling. A few days ago, the army was deployed in Shanghai. That's how bad the situation is. The city's healthcare system has collapsed, but China is still sticking to the zero COVID rule, the one that has seen zero success. Zero COVID means mass testing. Zero COVID also means tough quarantine, and it is not delivering. The virus is still spreading. So what does China do? Zero tolerance. That's their new mantra, punishing the people for contracting the virus. Let me show you how. This is video number 1. Again, this is believed to be from Shanghai. People are being forced into centralized quarantine facilities. Healthcare workers in PPE kits are picking them up and forcing them into isolation. Once again, we advise viewer discretion. Citizens being shoved into buses like they're criminals. Now, we don't know if they tested positive, but they were being taken to a quarantine facility. To call this inhumane would be an understatement. China was unable to contain the Omicron outbreak, and now the people of Shanghai are paying for the government's failure. Now, in the quarantine centers, the situation is hardly any better. There's chaos. This is video number 2. We received this one earlier today. It is from a quarantine site in Shanghai. People here were fighting for supplies.
Bro, this is crazy. I cannot believe, but these are... Wow. Wow.
What are they fighting for? Basic needs, stuff like blankets, food, even water. Residents of Shanghai have lodged complaints now. And
there was barely anything there.
This is a woman talking about the same quarantine site that you just saw. Her mother was admitted there. Let me quote from what she said. My mom tested positive and was at home for a week, laying low, and she recovered. Yet they recklessly took her away. When she arrived, she had to snatch a room for herself. Nothing was fixed. People who tested positive and negative all mixed together. There was no hot water, no healthcare workers, no nurses. There was nothing. People had to fight over food and water. The chaos and the confusion was over the limit. Like we told you before, it's a nightmare. And some people are now openly defying rules. This is video number 3. It shows a man walking on the streets of Shanghai. He defied the law. He stepped out without a mask. Now look at what they did to him.
Oh, snap. Viewer discretion. Facts. Oh, man. When a government decides to go against its people, man.
什么不带啊？我当然问问你啊。好，我带。
The man was hauled into a police vehicle and taken away. He was accused of violating pandemic prevention rules. Taking off the mask may not be the best way to protest, we agree, but the Chinese people say they've had enough. Here is another one. Video number 4. It's of an old man defying lockdown orders.
这园长给他当了个，他这费用不咋好意思。9号喽，不裸呀，我给你当的打起来了，梅龙七村有个不带。
So we get the picture. Like, it really, really seems like the government of China. But I don't know this. I don't know what really happened. But I'm just using my own thoughts of everything and looking back now from 2025, looking back and really noticing these crazy things. But the crazy thing is, if we fast forward to China now, if you look at China now, well, now guys, this is China in 2025, okay?
Strange. Where did all the people go during Lunar New Year? Cities are empty, and even the countryside is desolate. What's going on? I suddenly seem to have realized something pretty scary. You know how during the New Year, the cities are empty. Everyone knows that. But now, it seems like even the countryside is empty too. It's so quiet and deserted in the villages. You think about it, China has 1.4 billion people. But where are they? Where do they all go? There's no one in the cities, no one in the villages. The more I think about it, the scarier the whole thing feels.
Yeah.
I've even started to doubt if China really has 1.4 billion people. If we really do, where did all those people go?
What do you think?
This year's Lunar New Year has left Chinese citizens with a sense of unusual quietness, with major cities like Beijing and Shanghai unusually empty. On January 28, 2025, which was New Year's Eve, a blogger posted a video showing just how quiet Beijing was during the holiday night. A blogger living just outside Beijing's second ring road reported that from New Year's Eve through to New Year's Day on January 29th, the entire city was eerily quiet, almost deserted. There were no fireworks or festive sounds, and the usual celebratory atmosphere was completely absent. Another blogger in Shanghai noted that this was her first time spending the Lunar New Year in the city and was shocked by how empty it felt.
Today I want to show you the streets of Shanghai, and let me tell you, it's really quiet. The roads that are usually packed with traffic are suddenly quiet. The streets are empty. It's kind of surreal, like everything is really ending. Shanghai's population is 80% from outside the city, and they've all gone home for the new year. So right now, aside from those who can't or don't want to go home, the only people left are those who call Shanghai home.
However, people returning to their hometowns for the new year reported a similar emptiness in the rural areas. Hey guys, why does it feel like there's no one around this new year? Maybe everyone's just staying in the cities and not going home anymore. I can't even find anyone to play cards with. Seriously, there's no one here. Look, the gates are all shut. There's no one. The new year should be bustling, but in the village it's so quiet, hardly anyone's setting off fireworks. A vlogger from Jiangxi stated that rural New Year celebrations felt incredibly boring, with hardly any pedestrians in sight. The streets were quiet and there were very few children. Neighbors were not visiting and the entire village felt silent. In this rural area, it's difficult to get around without a car, and the grocery shopping requires a 20-minute drive to the nearest town, which has no tall buildings, malls, or entertainment facilities. To reach the cinema, one would need to drive over 40 minutes to the city. Would you want to spend the New Year here? This man from Henan said that there were no sign of the New Year spirit anymore. Look at this, it's New Year's Day. Do you still feel the New Year vibe? The village is empty. It's so quiet you could hear a pin drop. And this is how we're spending the New Year? I don't think I'm coming back next year. You guys can come back if you want, but it's just not worth it. Many people in China feel that this year's New Year celebration feels extremely unusual and might go down as one of the quietest in history. Many have noted that making money is hard, and people are now opting for more rational consumption. Many people have abandoned big purchases, with stores selling New Year goods also feeling unusually empty.
The question I have is why people don't remember Guys, do you not remember during the pandemic that they were disappearing people in vans and the government was locking everybody down? Like, maybe you didn't see nothing because you were in lockdown. What was happening out there in the streets, I think it's pretty clear. I think the government basically shut your eyes so you don't see what they were doing by locking you up. So obviously, none of this seemed to be planned by America or any other government. It seemed to be China. And apparently they got results, the results they wanted because they were overpopulated. But we don't know this. I definitely don't know this for a fact. They could be playing me. Unless I actively go to China and see it with my own eyes, this is all just a theory. Just, we never could believe what's online. And that's why I encourage you to not really take me serious. I'm just putting you in the perspective of think about it. Because I sure am.
This is the current state of China's real estate. An entire apartment building, and only one family lives in it. See that? Just one household in the whole building. Look over there. Not even a single family lives in those buildings. This is what China's housing market looks like now. And over there, only 2 units have their lights on.
Give it 10 more years, and Jiashan will just be filled with empty buildings. Houses keep going up, but people... fewer and fewer. Even homes priced at 500,000 to 600,000 yuan, about 70 to 85,000 US dollars, but no one even wants to look. There's no one on the main roads, no one in the markets or supermarkets. It's eerily quiet everywhere. So, where did everyone go?
Where? Where did everyone
This
go?
residential area was built a long time ago, but for some reason, no one ever moved in. It's been abandoned for years. Weeds everywhere. It honestly feels like a post-apocalyptic scene. Every building sealed shut. I came during the day on purpose. I wouldn't dare come at night. From a nearby building, I looked in. Every single unit is empty. Even in daylight, it feels cold, lifeless.
I have no idea. Now, I do have to admit that it's a little bit far-fetched and fictional to think that there's a secret group of old men that rule the world and are conspiracing to only allow their families to live and rule over the whole world. But considering looking back at the past, looking at conspiracies, looking across the world, looking at recent things that happened, what we've discovered after the Biden administration, now it really, really makes me think and wonder, doesn't it? At least it makes me think and wonder. But the question and the thing after all of this, the way I see it is, we're not going to be able to defeat these people because people are just too ignorant. The way I see it is, how do I get in this group? And how do I save my family from whatever it's coming? Hey, I want in. I want to save the people I love. So at the end of the video right here, I just want to say this is a very scary conspiracy, especially from 2025, looking back at everything that happened, is I want in. But hey, that's just a theory, a conspiracy theory. And at the end of the day, why are we going to go against them when we could always become one of them? One of them. One of them. One of them. Because why not?
Oh, be quiet. Why are you guys so anti-dictators? Imagine if America was a dictatorship. You could let 1% of the people have all the nation's wealth. You could help your rich friends get richer by cutting their taxes and bailing them out when they gamble and lose. You could ignore the needs of the poor for healthcare and education. Your media would appear free, but would secretly be controlled by one person and his family. You could wiretap phones. You could torture foreign prisoners. You could have rigged elections. You could lie about why you go to war. You could fill your prisons with one particular racial group, and no one would complain. You could use the media to scare the people into supporting policies that are against their interests. I know this is hard for you Americans to imagine, but please try.